Alright, welcome back everybody to Call of Cthulhu. I did notice I had some video issues with that last episode. I think I will have fixed them now, but we will see, I guess. So we're coming back in at Chapter 7, The Nameless Bookstore. The Shambler turned out to be much more than an artwork painted by Sarah Hawkins, as a huge creature came out of the painting to attack Pierce. After a hard fight, the detective managed to send it back into the painting. He later discovered that the dagger he used to repel the creature had been sold to Sanders by a man named Algernon Drake, owner of the Nameless Bookstore. Pierce decides to pay the library a visit. Enter madness.
Where is the bookseller?
Yeah, we got a lot of scrounging to do here.
Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century.
This practical work, written by Sigmund Freud for psychologists, describes the techniques of analytical interpretation of dreams. The analysis must follow several rules, especially that of free association, a principle announced by Freud at the end of the 19th century. It treats dreams as a way of revealing buried desires. I cannot believe that this theory is applicable to my nightmares. But I still got some medicine. History of Darkwater Volume 1. A Puritan colony, led by Reverend John Wickwood, settled on the island during the 17th century. They named the island Darkwater because of the dark shades of the sea. They believed it was because of the peculiar color of the rocks surrounding the island. They erected the first buildings, among which were the Hawkins Manor, the church, and the cemetery. The rare documents and handwritten notes they left spoke of nightmares and deviant behaviors. They disappeared at the beginning of the 18th century.
An old diary.
Diary of the Pastor's Wife, Volume 4. The pastor declared himself to be the prophet. He renounced God and worshipped a strange pagan deity entity with a monstrous appearance. His wife tried to reason with her husband, but in vain. He was convinced that he must listen to the voice in his head because it holds the truth.
The Book of Zion is the foundational work behind Helena Blavatsky's Theosophical movement. Its followers placed truth on the same footing as a religion.
These Tibetan writings are at the origin of the esoteric movement followed by Helena Blavatsky at the end of the 19th century. The creator of Theosophy would have drawn extensively on the text of this work, but no one has ever been able to consult them. I thought they didn't exist. This book, discovered in the Nameless Bookstore on Darkwater, could be as much a fake as irrefutable proof of Blavatsky's sincerity. Handbook on Anatomy and Dissection, Book 2. As precise and illustrated with as much detail as the first volume, this book focuses on healing surgeries specific to malformations and motor disorders. But I'm learning so much in this book story. See, in this one. Breviary of Medicine, Tome 3. Even a few years back, it was possible for a single practitioner to know all the medical knowledge of his time. This book, which concludes the series, shows that this is now virtually impossible. About 10 renowned doctors took part in putting together this collection. Handbook on Anatomy and Dissection, Book 1. The least that can be said about this book is that its title is well conceived. The illustrations of human anatomy and dissection methods presented are illustrated in great detail. You have to have a strong heart or the detachment proper to doctors to consult its pages. What's this here?
A strange amulet.
Oh, amulet in the
I
shape
have a feeling
of a dog.
I'd better not touch it.
A strange amulet. The pendant is in the shape of a large dog. I don't know what it represents. I might find out more by searching the bookstore. But I still got some occultism. Almost up to rank 4. Anything else over here? Yeah. I know I'm having trouble with this. Come at it from a different angle. No. Okay, I found all the clues in here for now, apparently. What about out here? Oh, there's a room over here, that's right.
What happened here?
Oh, time for a reconstruction.
Let's start over. Where did they break in from?
Probably right here.
Blood. Seems like amateur work. To whom does this footprint belong? No sign of struggle. If the burglar smashed this jar, it wasn't intentionally. Was he hurt then? What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene? What killed all these animals? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work? What the... Charles Hawkins? Looks like the symbol rejected Hawkins. What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess? Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe. Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case. Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills?
More or less.
What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet?
Please forgive my pronunciation of Aurelia. That's the best I got. This key that bears the Elder sign is the only one able to protect your psyche. It is in the form of a cylindrical medallion, hanging at the end of a heavy chain. Hundreds of years ago, the star and the branch, whose purpose is to push back the forces of the great old ones, were engraved at its center. Everything points to it being Charles Hawkins that tore it from its last owner, an Egyptian antique dealer. In press cuttings that mention the misdemeanor, the date of the robbery coincides with the last of Hawkins' trips off to Cairo. It remains to be seen whether he knows of the true purpose of the artifact. Try to find it. Oh.
Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
A page seems to be hidden here. It is possible to read. If somebody finds these memoirs, there will be no doubt that I'm in serious trouble. My last and only hope is that my body and bones are still in this plane of reality, in order that they may be recovered and burned. The funeral urn must be given to my dear mother if she is still of this world. The following message is of capital importance. Whoever reads these lines and demonstrates acuity as sharp as mine can hope to gain access to my most precious possession. It lies within my safe, and the clues to the combination are to be found in 3 cylinders, each hidden where life and study combine in the Greek world. Each cylinder is numbered, even if, as the celebrated author says, order is the pleasure of reason, but disorder is the delight of the imagination. Indeed, despite my preference for organized chaos, I must admit that reason usually prevails in the end. If by chance a person, or should I say a genius, was to match my intellect and find the combination of the safe, I would ask that they deliver its content into the safekeeping of my friend and colleague, Professor Armitage of Miskatonic University. The content of this safe is not only a vast digestive knowledge, but also a weapon that is far too dangerous for it to fall into the wrong hands. I hope that you will be able to appreciate the danger that this represents, and that you will act accordingly. In any event, I will neither be there to guide you, nor to suffer from your actions. Okay, so we gotta figure out the safe combination. Let's see. Oh my god, yeah, we have a zillion books here. Let's see, there were other things though.
A kind of chalice.
I thought there was more to that. Hang on. There were clues that were a bit more specific. Maybe I'm thinking of something else I was supposed to pick up. Yeah, there's a lot of books to read. Well, it says that I found everything in here, so... yeah, I don't know. Let me take a look at this.
Things are not looking good.
Oh, okay. Oh, History of Darkwater, Volume 4. In the 19th century, as the American whaling industry reached its peak in the rest of the world, whales gradually disappeared from the water surrounding Darkwater. This phenomenon appears even more mysterious because up until then, the region was a favored refuge for cetaceans. In 1847, after months of pursuit, Scylla returns to port with a gigantic creature on board. Its crew asserts that the sea monster had eaten all the disappeared whales. After a night of ferocious combat, the survivors managed to drag the beast onto the whaling ship.
Arkham editions. Never heard of them.
Okay, so we have the Arkham editions. This is just a bunch of encyclopedia volumes. A collection of essays on American folklore and urban legends written by Albert Wilmarth, professor at Miskatonic University. This volume is part of the Arkham Anthology, a luxurious collection of treatises and works on esotericism and the supernatural. But I need to know which one coincides with what I need. I should max out my spot hidden. And let's keep pumping investigation. I really like being able to pick locks. Alright, give me but a moment to figure this out, and we will be right back. Alright, found a couple things. So let's see if it's what I actually need. Ah, there we are.
Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
Excellent. In here, am I going to read the book? Do you guys think I'm going to read the book? I'm gonna
What
read
does
the
this
book.
strange book contain? This book contains unholy knowledge.
It's the Malleus Bestiarium. This collection catalogs and classifies creatures that I've never heard of. Divinities from the stars, creatures capable of traveling from one dimension to another. It presents itself as the reference work on the bestiary of the myth, without giving details on the mythology to which it refers. Its pages are covered with phantasmagorical illustrations. Very cool. I got an achievement for that. Nice. And my occultism is getting pretty high. Okay, so I found the roll thing. I think I need to put it into the gramophone. Yeah. So let's listen to the first
And
one.
these red rocks, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
Okay, so that was referring to the goblet here. Red
The
drops.
chalice of knowledge.
So how many rubies we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, okay. First number's 5.
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
So that's referring to the chessboard here.
The queen has little protection.
She has only 3 guys on her side, so second number's 3, so 5, 3.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
I'm going to write down 5 and 3 because we're actually going to go and look at pretty much all of the Arkham volumes here because they're neat. And that's what this chapter is kind of about, is just kind of exploring stuff. So we're on 5, 3, no, not E, 3, there we go. Okay, so let's start from the upper left.
What did Drake say about this collection?
This is Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, a collection of poems by Edward Pickman Derby. Also known as the Nightmare Lyrics, this collection of poems was sensationally received when it was first published in 1908. Derby was only 18 years old.
Drake talked about a particular volume.
Let's see, this one is Isis Unveiled, a book of esoteric philosophy and a key text in Madame Blavatsky's Theosophical Movement, written by Helena Petrovna Blavatsky.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
This one's Volume 4, The Key of Solomon. a book of spells supposedly written by the legendary King Solomon. It contains various rituals of invocation and rituals of curse. Reedition by Claudia D. Waits, based on L.W. de Lawrence's original.
What did Drake say about this collection?
This one is Volume 8, Messa de Requiem per Shige. Opera in 8 acts by Benvenuto Chieti Brottigera, an infamous lyrical work published in Italy in 1768. It is said that the opera was performed only once, resulting in an audience riot that left several dead and missing.
Drake talked about a particular volume.
This one is Volume 6, The Prophecies, a collection of long-term astrological predictions written in verse, written by Nostradamus, translated by E. Leone and Theophilus Widebridge.
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message.
Here's Volume 1, Oera Linda, an ancient Frisian manuscript translated by William D. Sandbach. The text claims that in the distant past, Europe and other continents were controlled by the mothers of this people, and moreover, that our alphabet is derived from the Frisian language.
What did Drake say about this collection?
We already looked at that one.
Drake talked about a particular volume.
This one is Volume 2, Corpus Hermeticum, written by Hermes Trismegistus, translated and edited by Nathaniel M. Coppelius. This collection of texts on different beliefs was written by a legendary philosopher. It includes a translation of the Emerald Tablet, a popular text among 16th century alchemists. So I think the last number is actually just 9, like he just says it in the audio log. No, not that. Which is like, I don't know, I don't think you're actually a brainiac necessarily if you made it that easy, but there we go. Chapter 8, Riverside Institute. In the nameless bookstore, Pierce traced the trail of an attempted burglary. He discovered that Charles Hawkins was behind the attempt. Pierce opened the bookseller's safe to find what the latter and Sarah Hawkins had hidden there. A book, covered in human skin, lied inside, irresistibly attracted the detective. When he opened it, his mind was projected into another body. Yeah, I might call it there just because we're getting close, and that's a pretty decent stopping point. Yeah, let's call it there, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.